here.
Oh,
So,
that's ridiculous.
I'm a little chill, too.
Sure. Sure.
Oh, yeah, we're about to get some snow. That's ridiculous.
Well, I'll be paying the price. I'm calling the Baltimore-Buffalo game.
Oh,
Sunday
nice.
night. So,
Love
yeah,
it.
I'll be getting my fill of cold.
All right, so I was going to start with the Eagles, but let's start with that one. You're calling that one, and everybody, oh, my God, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, the MVPs. I kind of love Saquon Barkley myself, but that being said, tell me about the game you're going to call Sunday.
Well, I mean, listen, I don't know how much you take out of Week 4 when Baltimore beat them 35-10, rushed for 271 yards. Saquon, I mean, Derrick Henry had 199. But Buffalo rushed for over 200 against Denver last week. That's a little more current. It's going to be cold, but both teams are used to the cold weather. Obviously, the spotlight is on Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. They have not turned the ball over much this year. So, that's one of the things. Whenever it's a close game, you look for things that can turn a game. Buffalo is tied for third with 4th and 32 turnovers, 16 interceptions, 16 fumbles. Can they get a fumble? Can they get an interception? Can they get extra possession? Will there be a big special teams play that can change the field position or change the score? Just kind of look for in games like this. I mean, for Baltimore, they bring in 6 linemen all over 300 pounds. They have Patrick Ricard, who is an all-pro fullback. He's over 300 pounds. So basically you have 7 guys over 300 pounds, and they hand the ball off to a 250-pound back in Derrick Henry.
Yep.
And Buffalo loves to play 5 DBs. They do it 95% of the time. So they're giving up some size. They have to gain tackle. But that's what they've been doing, and it's been successful for them. So it's like both teams come in, they run what they're best at and see what happens.
You played on a team with the opposite side of the ball, Randall Cunningham, who's, I don't know, probably one of the first ones that played a lot like Lamar and Josh, but they've really revolutionized the position. As a D tackle or defensive end, when you're on that front line, like, what do your responsibilities change with this style of quarterback? Like, what do they do up front to keep these guys bottled in and in the pocket?
I mean, you talk about really disciplined pass rush lanes, but you don't want to take the aggressiveness away from the pass rushers. You look at a team like Baltimore. They have 54 sacks. That's second in the league. That's taking chances. To get to the quarterback. The one thing that you just really don't want to do is you don't want to let them break outside the pocket. You don't want to let them break out, especially to the right. They're both right-handed quarterbacks. Give them space to the right to either throw the ball or run. But it's kind of a fine line of, again, kind of aggressive pass rushing and staying in your pass rush lanes. It's kind of damned if you do and damned if you don't. But with Lamar, both these guys. I mean, Josh Allen's like a tank running the ball, and he scrambles, one of the most scrambling quarterbacks in the NFL. But Baltimore, they're one of the best at the NFL of not letting a scrambling quarterback pass the line of scrimmage. So there's a lot of strength on strength. But basically, it's don't let the quarterback outside the pocket. If you have contain, maintain, contain.
Mike, it's going to be 18 degrees. I know as a D lineman, probably doesn't affect you as much as the offensive guys. Do you try to hit Lamar or Josh Allen and give him a good pop early in the game to make him really not just feel the cold, but, hey, if you run the ball, we're going to hurt you?
Hey, you try and hit them hard if it's 90 degrees out. You try and, light them up. I mean, there's no weather where you try and light somebody up more than a guy that can beat you with his arm and his legs, and both these quarterbacks can do it. Now, do the hits sting a little bit more? Is the ground a little harder when it's frozen? Yeah, it is. But, you look at a guy like Lamar who's more slight than Josh Allen, and people are always worried about, Lamar's going to get hurt when he runs. The only time Lamar's gotten hurt is when he's gotten hit in the pocket. He's not gotten hurt running the ball. So, listen, for these quarterbacks, you try and lay a hit on them as best you can. Now, the rules are a little different than when I played of how much you could hit a quarterback and land on a quarterback. They're not quite the same. But yeah, there'll be no shortage of trying to drive these quarterbacks into the ground.
The game before that will be Rams-Eagles. That will have some snow, and we're assuming that the Rams are just going to stack the box and try to stop Saquon. Is that going to be a bad game plan, or Jalen Hurts going to beat these guys over the top if they try to do that?
Well, I mean, you want to try and take the best part of an offense away, and that's the running attack for Philadelphia. They have a great offensive line. I mean, think about it. Jason Kelce retires, Cam Jurgens takes over, and he's an all-pro.
Right.
He's a Pro Bowler, in his first year as a starter. They have a great offensive line, and they lead the way by running. So, yeah, the Rams need to stop the run. Now, the Rams really got after the Vikings pass rushing with 9 sacks, but they have been susceptible to the run. So they need to force Jalen Hurts to beat him over the top. That's always what you want to do. You want to make a team beat you with not their best weapon. Philly's best weapon is the run. For the Rams, they've been kind of befuddling. I mean, you see the Rams, and you see when they're healthy and have Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua and Kyron Williams and Matthew Stafford. But you look at some of their last games, they scored 13 points to beat the Cardinals. They scored 19 points to beat the Jets. They scored 12 points to beat the 49ers. They weren't scoring a lot of points. That was kind of a head-scratcher to me. But they do have the ability. The game before the 49ers game, they put up 44 against the Bills, beat them 44-42. So is this Ram offense, which Ram offense is going to show up, the one that can score a lot of points or the one that doesn't and has to rely on their defense?
Talking to Mike Golic, former NFL player, does a great show with his son every morning. DraftKings is one of their big sponsors. You can check out their podcast, Gojo and Golic, on Apple and all over the place, wherever you get their podcasts. Let me ask you about some of these other games on Saturday. Do you think these bye weeks will bother the Lions or the Chiefs? And for the Chiefs, this is a banged-up team, and Pacheco and some of these guys that I think he played 7 games during the regular season. How do you think those two number ones are going to fare?
But, the thing about the Chiefs is they had guys hurt during the season and healed by the end of the season. And let's be honest, the Chiefs are used to this schedule. They're used to that. Last year they weren't the number 1 seed. They had to go to Baltimore and win in the AFC title game. But for the most part, before last year, Patrick Mahomes hadn't played a playoff game away from home. So they're used to having the bye week. They're used to this type of schedule. Andy Reid is used to running a team like this. Detroit's the team that's not used to this. It's the first time they're number 1 seed. But you want to talk about a team that needed the bye week. They had guys hurt all year, including the end of the year. They're getting Terry and Arnold back, their cornerback who had a foot injury in the last game. I actually called that game against the Vikings when they destroyed the Vikings. They lost Kevin Zeitler, the right guard, to a hammy. He's out. He's not going to be playing in this game. They get David Montgomery back. They were, Sonic and Knuckles, the two-headed monster running back between Gibbs and Montgomery. But Gibbs has been doing a great job kind of carrying the load by himself. So now if you get Montgomery to add in a little bit, they have a lot of firepower on offense, and I'm not sure Washington can keep up with the scoring pace.
You can hear Mike Golic on these airwaves this weekend, as he said he's calling the Baltimore-Buffalo game on Westwood One, which will be carrying that game on these Rob Dibble Show stations. How does it work for you then, sir? How are you going to get done with that game so late and then have all of your leprechaun stuff on for Monday for the big national championship?
Well, I'm all set. I'll do the game Sunday night. I'll get up in the morning, and from my Buffalo hotel room, my son Mike and I will do our show, Gojo and Golic, for DraftKings and podcast. And then I catch a noon flight out of Buffalo, and I land in Atlanta at 2:30, just in time to go to the hotel, drop my stuff off, put my Notre Dame gear on, and go pregame party, because then I'll just be a fan. I have no work to do. So
good.
I'll be tipping a few beers back, kind of enjoying the pregame, and then looking for an Irish victory Monday night.
Do you like the college football bracket so far, these 4 extra games?
Oh, absolutely. And listen, there are 2 changes that need to happen. First and foremost, the easy one, don't give the conference champs the automatic tie. Just rank the top 12 and seed them as the top 12. And then, quite honestly, I think how the first round is home games, the second round wasn't. The teams that had bye didn't have a home game. I think the first 2 rounds should be home games. And then the 2 semifinal games and the final game be the bowl game. When we had a 4-team playoff, that's how it worked. There were 3 bowl games used, 1 each for the semifinal game and then 1 for the championship game, just rotated. I think you do the same thing here. But, we kept talking about the 4-team playoff. Notre Dame was in it a couple times, got blown out. There was at least 1 blowout every single year in the 4-team playoff, whether it was the semis or the finals. So you got blowouts anyway. Here, Ohio State and Notre Dame earned their way. They each won 3 games because the teams that had to bye all lost in their first round. So Ohio State and Notre Dame, both, you can't say neither one of these teams doesn't deserve to be there.
Around here, we love Coach Mora. He can do no wrong in the state of Connecticut right now. We're 9-4, and we just won a Fenway Bowl, and that's all. Like Notre Dame has a different kind of bar that it's attached to with their football program. What will it do for Marcus Freeman if he wins this game? And just talk about you as an alum, like what you guys think of this coach.
Well, I mean, listen, they hadn't won a title since '88. Now, they played for a title when both my boys played on the team in 2013. They lost to Alabama. They were in the Final Four 2 times after that when they had the 4-team playoffs, and they lost that. So, obviously, no title since '88. And Marcus Freeman, the players love him. He's a great recruiter. He's young. He's energetic. He just got an extension, deservedly so. I love him. I love how he represents Notre Dame, how he's always building the players up. Players want to play for him in this draft, in this transfer portal era. He said Notre Dame will always minor in it; they won't major in it, but certainly they got some great players, including Riley Leonard, the quarterback, in the portal. So he is everything that's great about Notre Dame, and fortunately for him, and understandably, he's getting looked at by the NFL, and I get it. And I don't know what his goals are as far as coaching, if he wants to coach at the highest level, which would be the NFL. I don't know what his goals are. I've known him pretty well over the years, but he seems to be enjoying his time in Notre Dame and bringing back Notre Dame back at least to the possibility of a title. They had some chances the last 2 years, but this is a realistic shot.
Mike, always great to pick your brain and talk to you, my friend. Safe travels. Have a great call with the Bills and the Ravens, and have fun drinking a few beers, watching your alma mater.
That's right.
Try to take out Ohio State, man. So that's going to be a hell of a weekend and long weekend for you, but going to be a lot of fun. Thank you, Mike.
Oh, you got it, guys. I'll have a long time to recover after.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mike. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll do First Dibs question of the day.
Wait till you see.